We really wanted to give you an overview of a lot of the positive things going on in the downtown right now, some of our plans for the future, and probably most important to you, how can we help you, make you a part of continuing to be successful in downtown Tinley. And as you see from the agenda, we have a variety of speakers from our staff as well as our acting mayor. And I'm not going to introduce them, but I want to talk a little bit about why we all know downtown is important. And really, you can kind of capsulize it in three areas. One, it's the emotional heart of our community. It's really the third place, not our workplace, our home, where we enjoy being citizens of Tinley Park and where we have our happy moments. It's where we take senior pictures. It's where we enjoy summer Saturday nights. It's where we go to dinner to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Of course, the second thing any successful downtown has, as Tinley does, is it's really our connection to our community's past. And our buildings here in Tinley Park, they provide a backdrop for remembering the way that our community started and the way it used to be and the way it continues to be. Our buildings and the placement of new buildings adjacent to the sidewalk, that brings us back to kind of that turn of the century look and to our town's ancestors who thought a lot about what we hoped our town would be. And finally, it's our sign that our community is healthy. Building a downtown is not something every town can do. And the fact that Tinley Park has done this and continues to look at ways to improve it is a strong sign of the success of the community. And it's not just the physical health with pathways, walkability, bike lanes, but our financial health and basically investing in capital projects and our business community, helping our business community succeed. Obviously, if you visit downtown Tinley on the car night, Friday and Saturday nights, we see people walking around, and we know that we're doing well, but we want to continue to do more of that. Downtown development, as we all know, isn't easy. There's no one project that will make our downtown successful, and growth comes in incremental baby steps. Sometimes that can be frustrating for all. It's as frustrating for us. We'd like to see things happen at a quicker pace, but that's not the way that strong growth happens. What's important here, however, is that the village is committed to continue our partnership with downtown property owners and businesses and to capitalize on our existing assets and build public confidence as our Main Street continues to prosper. Working together with the downtown businesses, we've had a long partnership, and we're going to continue, our staff, will continue to commit the time and resources to make sure that we support and the downtown continues to grow. And so really today is all about kind of talking about what our partnerships are, showcasing those, and show you ways in which our departments can help you support our downtown development. So to start this off, I'd like to introduce our planning director, Amy Connolly, and what she's going to talk about is our legacy plan for downtown, some of the successes, what does the legacy plan mean to the downtown, and how that helps all of you. So, Amy?
Yeah. Bring it out. Thank you for the introduction, and we've been working in downtown Tinley Park and for many years, and the work started long before we did the legacy planning code. There's been the Camaros plan. Some of you have been around for plans that even preceded, the planning that we were doing in the 1990s. So downtown has evolved over a long period of time, and our ability to plan has built upon each of those plans as we've moved forward. I want to talk a little bit today about the legacy plan in particular because it's been 5 years since that plan was adopted. And so we're 5 years in, and we should talk about some of the successes that we've had and what the plan is in of itself. Back in 2009, we had been meeting with the Main Street Commission. The Main Street Commission was really interested in seeing some redevelopment in the downtown, as well as the village trustees. We were able to bring in a speaker named Dan Burden. Some of you were at that presentation where he talked about the importance of walkability in our community and creating a community where people could park once and walk around the entire downtown and feel comfortable doing so. He provided evidence that having a more walkable community meant you could sell your buildings for more if you wanted to sell them, that you could retail for more money, that that it would end up having a really good impact on all of the finances of downtown. The other thing that Dan recommended was planning and having a new code for downtown. He felt pretty strongly that the community needed a vision to work toward, and that we really needed to spend some money and effort on implementing a new code to support downtown development. Some of you also remember he was here in February in the midst of a very large snowstorm, and we actually had trouble walking down some of our streets. So that led to some pushes for snow shoveling too. So after Dan came in, there was a really big push by the board and by the Main Street Commission to work on a plan and a code together. And so the village board granted us some money, and we moved forward to working on what we eventually called the Legacy Plan and Code. So the vision for downtown, and I want to read the vision to you. I was just talking with Beth about how organizations and businesses do a lot of visioning, and they do that to project what they want in the future. And they do that so that they can align everything that they do on a daily basis with that vision. And that's some of the same things that we do with our collective vision. The vision for Downtown Tinley Park says that Downtown Tinley will be known in the Chicagoland region as a premier transit-oriented downtown, a vibrant place to live within walking distance of a major train station. Oak Park Avenue will thrive as Tinley's historic Main Street, hosting a variety of restaurants, shops, and venues to attract people during the day and evening. Downtown streets will place pedestrians first, with shaded sidewalks, places to sit, and safe crossings. New bike trails will connect downtown to regional open spaces. New development will respect the scale of old historic buildings. A new gateway to the south will connect Oak Park Avenue and downtown to the convention and hotel district. Downtown will continue to be the center of our community, a vibrant, enduring place to live, shop, and visit. So I think that's a really good vision, and it's one of those visions that I think everybody agrees on. There's almost nothing in that statement that anybody would disagree with. Everybody would want to have pedestrians be a priority in our community. Everybody would want that new development to respect existing development. So I think it's a really good vision statement that we can all get behind. The development of that vision statement eventually led to the development of the plan that you see. Now it's tipped on its side, so north is over here, and south is over here, and the train station is right here. And so we developed from that vision statement and some principles that I'll share with you in a minute, we developed a land use plan that laid out what we see to be the future of Tinley Park going forward for the next 20 years. That included new gateways to the community at the north and south entrances of Oak Park Avenue, 183rd Street and 167th Street. It included transition zones where we would transition development from commercial development over time to residential development, and those were in the areas that you see here on the map along Oak Park Avenue. And then in the core of downtown, where that big circle is in the middle, we envisioned that would be the walkable core of our downtown, the 10-minute walk from our train station in any direction, and we would focus commercial mixed-use development in that area of downtown. So that's the development of the plan as it came about. The plan itself was based upon principles that were developed. So it wasn't just creating a land use plan in a room. We spent a lot of time working with the village commissions, having open houses, inviting people in to talk about the plan with us and what their ideas were. If some of you remember, we had a foam core model where you could actually move buildings around, just like Lego blocks, and decide how tall should the buildings be in downtown? Where should they be placed? Should parking be in front? Should it be in the back? And we spent a lot of time looking at that model and trying to determine what would be the best way to develop downtown Tinley Park. And there was a whole year spent working on this. You can see pictures from our open houses where we had at Central Middle School, and as well as work that we did on our model. It took us a lot of time to develop that plan. So the plan was based upon principles that came out of these open houses and discussions with the various village commissions. And I want to take you through the 10 principles really quick. The first one is the principle is maximizing the number of people within walking distance of the train station. And we've talked a lot about that. That leads to the idea of creating a walkable downtown core where pedestrians are a priority and where we try to get pedestrians across the street as best as we can, as well as creating inviting sidewalks and shops along the street. So I did a quick study looked up our walk score last night. So a walk score is a measure of how walkable your community is. And you can take certain areas of town, certain intersections. Actually, you can look up your own house and determine how walkable your house is. Today, Downtown Tinley Park has a walk score of 64 out of 100. And it says that it's somewhat walkable. Some errands could be accomplished on foot. So we have a little bit more to go on this, and we have more improvements to make on our walkability, but I think it's a really good principle to work from, and it certainly led to the development of the land use plan. Another principle was concentrating density and taller structures at the core of downtown. So height should be accomplished near the train station, and as you go out from the train station down, the height of the buildings should be lower, and that was accomplished in our plan as well. Preserving important historic buildings and blocks was a priority of this plan, looking at the old historic buildings, making sure that the connections were still made to those, that they were preserved as best as they can be, and involved in rehabilitation. New buildings must also respect the historic character of existing buildings. So when we're bringing in new development to town, we want to make sure that the character, the form of new development is respectful of the old development that we have existing today. We also wanted to look at transitioning commercial uses to residential uses outside the core, and those are those transition areas that I talked about. And you can see we did a graphic here kind of showing what that looks like over time. If I push this button, you will see it transition automatically to what a residential would look like from transitioning to a residential type development. So we did a lot of visioning. And we also talked about creating a walkable downtown, which you talked about a lot. So getting crosswalks, making sure that everything's pedestrian scale and friendly. Green downtown, we wanted to make sure that we address stormwater issues and green infrastructure. Creating downtown as a focal port to a regional bike system, so connecting up the Forest Preserve trails, both south of town and north of Tinley Park. This is the Indianapolis Cultural Trail. So looking at ways that we can incorporate bikes as well as pedestrians in our planning. And also looking at the connected roadway framework, making sure that as we're developing downtown that we're looking to try to connect all of our streets together and make it more of a connection than sort of a disparate pattern of development. So the development of this plan eventually led to the development of a code. The code is there to implement the plan. Plan is a guiding document. The code is a legal document that implements the plan. So you can see that, again, north is over here and south is down here. This is 183rd, 167th Street, and this is Oak Park Avenue. So the plan looks a lot like the code, and the code is reflective of what the plan ideals are. And there's different character districts in the downtown legacy plan that reflect the elements of the plan. So we've had some really big successes already with this legacy plan. I want to talk a little bit about them. A roundabout project that created the gateway that was part of the plan was funded several years ago, and we're still in design work on that. Avenue Animal Hospital completed a development that pushed their building to the front and put their parking in the back. Garden Center Services also did a new redevelopment of their building several years ago. The Liberty Building, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. Parkway improvements, you've seen us remove some asphalt and install green in the parkways, so we continue to do that up and down Oak Park Avenue to make it a more hospitable place to walk. Multi-use bike paths and lanes, we've been implementing those. Last year we implemented a multi-use bike path and then bike lanes on Oak Park Avenue south of the railroad tracks. And then front yard parking removals, as we've been able to negotiate removal of front yard parking so that we can create a more pedestrian-oriented front yard with sidewalks in front of the Jostens building, the Chen building on South Oak Park Avenue. So it's been some pretty good successes that have really changed the shape of downtown. These have been incremental small changes, not large changes, but they've made a big impact on how Oak Park Avenue looks. And coming soon, you're going to see a couple townhome projects that we're in discussions with about right now. You're going to see a couple remodeling projects. Perhaps some projects that have been on the shelf for a while may come back to us within the next year or so. And we think that the code and the plan allow us to move forward with those projects in very quick measure. So some case studies really quick. Some of these came about before the plan and were actually helped us create the code. So I want to give some credit to Bailey's, who had Jim's Inn here before, and they purchased it. And as part of their purchase, they actually redeveloped the front of their building by removing the parking in the front and putting in an outdoor patio. That was genius. Now they have people sitting outside and advertising that people can have a drink here and enjoy themselves on an outdoor patio in the summertime. And we want to encourage that as much as we can, all up and down downtown. So that became part of our code. Another building that redeveloped was the auto building here. This is 176th Street and Oak Park Avenue. They also removed their front yard parking, put their parking to the side, and now they have sidewalk and landscape in front of the building. They have successful businesses there, and insurance agents, and a yoga studio, and a hair salon, and they also have people living there right now. And that was another successful project that said, you know, we can move forward with some small-scale redevelopment projects if we allow the code and develop the code in a way to make that happen. So those were our test cases that happened before the adoption of the code and led to the development of some of the projects we see today. So Avenue Animal Hospital was one of the first projects that came in under the legacy code. All of you know where that is on Oak Park Avenue. Here is Byline Bank, and here is Avenue Animal Hospital. And originally it was a Rubino's building, and they were located in this building just to the north. And they came in and they said, you know, we'd really like to tear down our old building and locate here. And we said, we have got an idea for you. How about if you put your building addition to the front of your site and you put your parking in the back? We said, great idea. It actually gives us the ability to do more with our building. So you can see that they've added their addition to the front of that building. They've got room now on the side to add another addition when they want to grow. And now they have a curb cut and a parking lot that can be merged with the two lots to the north and the south over time, and see the redevelopments of those parcels as well. And you can see that this is the elevation that they were approved to build, which they did build, and this is the future addition that they can do. So the code allowed them to expand over time. It allowed them to expand in a way that put their parking at the rear and is actually safer for the customers, not having to back in and out over on Oak Park Avenue. So Jim's here, Mr. Liberty's here, and we've been working with him for a while on his building too. And I don't know if you've driven by it lately, but it looks amazing. It's getting its roof on right now, and you can see a lot of the brick detailing. So this is what the building used to look like, and you can kind of see it as you drive by what it used to look like. He's located on Oak Park Avenue, just south of 169th Street. This project, again, is located, it had parking in the rear, it also had parking in the front. There's really a little tiny sidewalk here that wasn't very walkable because you had to cross all of these curb cuts to walk up and down. But he added a addition to the front. You can see he added it both to the side and over here, and he met all the setback requirements. And then his goal is to have the shared parking in the rear of his building. And he's done that. So his project actually adds a sidewalk, adds green space, and has the addition added to it as well. So that's the plans that were adopted by the Plan Commission. It's internal site plan. And the elevations, which have changed a little bit, but they're still roughly the same elevations that are there and being put up today. But that's what we hope the building looks like when it's completed, and I think it's getting very close to being completed. So again, another example of how the code can help you remove your front yard parking, put the parking in back, expand your building to the front and to the sides, and see a redevelopment on a small scale. And finally, I want to take you through a plan that we've done for Chicks. You've seen that the Chicks building's been vacant for a very long period of time, and there's nobody looking at this building at this point in time, but we've already created plans to implement a redevelopment of that site. And so the site vision that we have for the site is to take the existing building, create an outdoor patio, which is really important to enliven the street, get the sidewalk put in, and green up the site, but still have the parking there. So we really think that that site can be redeveloped fully by meeting the plan and the code. So it's pretty exciting to see that we're not only planning for eventualities, we're actually looking at sites that are vacant right now and trying to get plans going to see them redeveloped. So just want to let you know that the plan has flexibility, the code has flexibility to see downtown redevelopment happen. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ivan Baker, our Economic Development Director, who's going to talk about economic incentives.
Isn't this great? This is so exciting. We are so thrilled. Who in the audience was a cheerleader in high school? Surely. Come on, somebody. Or yell leaders. Jake, okay. Well, I think all of us on staff, the one thing we can say is, woohoo for Downtown Tinley Park. And we need you to join us in that at all times. Am I right? Because the reality is, I can see you in a cheerleader outfit, Jim. I can. May not like it, but no. But the great thing about downtown is that because of the success that's already here, the enthusiasm of the people who are invested in downtown, and the commitment from your elected leaders and your village staff, we have absolutely nothing to say that we're not proud of this great, great downtown. We can't say that we're not proud. We can't say that we're not working hard every minute to build on the pride that's already there. You are so proud of we're so proud of what you're already doing. We want to keep building on that. We have unique and special advantages, and so from an economic development perspective, we build on that. We want to make sure that downtown continues to be the place to invest. We need the people who are investing there to make money, and we want to make sure that we have revenue coming in to pay for the necessary services that benefit our community. That's good for our citizens. It's good for our schools and our parks. Your pride makes a difference. We have already proven success. 180 businesses in downtown on Oak Park Avenue. More incentives are available. Low vacancy, under 6%. Anybody that is concerned about vacancy, I wish you all would just drive around and look at the other downtowns in the region. The average vacancy rate on downtowns in the region is 12%. I was up in Batavia, which has a huge population area in their trade market, a huge income. They have 50% vacancy in their downtown. Drive around, see how other downtowns compare, and you'll be amazed at the success that's occurring in downtown. And we need you to be the cheerleaders, showing that pride at all times with us. We have a destination that every economic developer I talk to say, I wish we had that in our downtown. It's called 20 restaurants. 20 restaurants that make a huge difference. They are all a huge destination that attract people, attract income, attract people with money ready to spend, attract a market, keep our community vital. And we have people that keep wanting to open up new restaurants, right, Julie? And market and market and market, because that entire destination of 20 restaurants makes a huge, huge difference. It's exciting, but it's unique. That's what we need to keep building on. So for us to have a successful economic development program, it takes a team. Elected officials can't do it by themselves. The staff can't do it by themselves. It's all of us working together. And when I was doing tenant rep work for commercial real estate, the easiest and best way to really have an area sold, to be able to sell a building, to be able to sell a site, was knowing what other people who have already invested think about the area. So we would always comment, how do people in the area already feel about downtown or that business park or that community? They expect the mayor to say great things. They expect the trustees to say great things. They expect the economic development director and the planning director to say great things. They don't always expect the people who are already invested there to say great things. You all make the difference as the cheerleaders, showing that pride every day. So for economic development perspective, the most important thing that we do, as directed by our plan, what our trustees and our mayor want us to do, is that we want our existing companies, the people who are already invested here, to keep growing and expanding. And one of the things that's really helped us with this is that we have a business retention director helping us, Mary Havener. You already met Mary. If you haven't, Mary, we've had a commitment to a business retention director for about the last 9 years, thank goodness. And Mary came in with experience as a chamber director and understands small business, and it's been huge benefit for the village, but especially for our existing companies. We work to encourage good business planning, marketing strategies, financial planning. When companies call us and they're interested in property, we want to make sure they can be successful, and we hope they'll listen to us. But we have the ability to offer free of charge ability to check business plans, help them with a business plan, help them with putting together a good marketing plan. We work with the SBA. Now, not everybody takes advantage of it, but we always offer it. We also promote Tinley Park downtown for new business and expansion growth at all times. We have inquiries every week. Not all of them are well capitalized or even have a business plan ready to go, but we always encourage them to look at downtown if they can at all meet the needs for their business with the downtown market. We market with the International Council of Shopping Centers. I'm the representative of all cities on the International Council Board, all cities in Illinois. We promote to successful companies in the region. We use direct mail, email, direct contact. We specifically try to make sure we're dealing with companies that have at least $500,000 in gross sales, partly because they kind of need that to be able to pay the taxes and meet all their other requirements of a successful business. Coordinating with local real estate brokers is our real key. We are a brokerage area, so those brokers make a big difference. We promote with entrepreneurs in the SBA, we promote to developers, utilizing TIF, utilizing other incentives. The legacy plan is a huge selling point for us. Most communities have no idea where they want to be. We do. We have a plan in place, and we push that. It is a huge marketing tool for us. And we, of course, encourage utilization of incentive programs. Why? Because downtown Tinley Park has more incentives than any other part of Tinley Park. And why is that? Because our great mayor and board of trustees have made that commitment. And they have told our staff, you will make sure that any incentives that are available to existing investors and new people that want to come downtown, that they have that available to them. There's a commitment to downtown. Those incentives are in place. The TIF districts make a huge difference. Now, those are incentives mainly available to owners, not tenants. But it certainly is a huge encouragement that most parts of Tinley Park are not eligible for, let alone have. Downtown Tinley Park has Cook County Class 8 available. That's a Cook County designation, but support from the mayor and the board. Oak Park Avenue is one of the few areas in town that has Cook County Class 2 and Class 3, which is mixed use, which is what Jim's using. We actually have 39 building owners that use Class 2 and 3. Rubino's, Beth benefits. Taxes are as low as they possibly can be because Beth rents in a building that's a Class 3 building. But that's because of a resolution from our mayor and our board. It's not something that Amy did or Donna did or Ivan did or Dave. We're doing what the board wants us to do. The facade enhancement program, a huge program passed by the board. Again, only available to owners of property in downtown Tinley Park. It's not available for a business out on LaGrange. Sales tax sharing. Any company that has significant sales tax also is eligible for sales tax. But that combination of incentives is very, very unique. They all are performance-based. Just because you exist doesn't mean that you're now adding new revenue to the village to help the school district and help the community, and now can be eligible for these incentives. But if you demonstrate that there's going to be some investment, some commitment, some improvement, some new jobs created, some new sales, some new marketing efforts that are going to add new business, now we can help you. Now the programs come into place. And I know that our mayor and our board want us to do everything possible to help encourage existing businesses to utilize these programs as well as new. But it's exciting. And so when I say woohoo, I mean it. We should be so proud of what's going on. And I know you are. And we need you to be our cheerleaders and join with us. You don't even have to don a little outfit like Jim's talking about. But we need you and are proud of you, and we know that our economic development effort will continue to be successful. Thank you. And now, our Assistant Village Manager, Mike Mertens.
Good afternoon, all. I'm not sure how I can follow that, but I'll give it a shot. I only have 40 slides, so bear with me. Actually, I don't. All right, so, real quick, we heard about a couple things. We heard about incentives with Ivan, and I want to reiterate something Amy talked about. It's really about flexibility. So property owners, you have the flexibility to do remodels and expansions, just like Jim Liberty's doing. You have the ability to do a complete redevelopment. So as property owners, you can do either. That is the important message, I think, to take back on the legacy code. And So I think our building department and our fire department got a little bit jealous when they realized the flexibility in the planning code. So those who own properties or maybe bought buildings or are new tenants realize that we have a code. It's called a change of use code, a change of use permit that would change when you have a new user coming into a building. So like good government, we want to make sure all our buildings meet our current standards. So we send in our inspectors to say, hey, your building's 40 years old, our electrical code has changed, or the landscaping code has changed. So you need to bring certain things up to date. And we work with the property owners to do that over a negotiated time frame. But one of the big hurdles that we run into is sprinkler systems. So I know some of you have rented buildings or bought buildings that are kind of old. This is one that's probably very familiar. I think there's somebody in the audience, a quiet gentleman, doesn't say much, but he owns this building. Bought it a number of years ago. It is our fire department would say it's a combustible building, right? It's not made of brick. So it needs a sprinkler system. One of the hurdles we ran into is the water line to service this building is on the east side of Oak Park Avenue. So he's got a building, not going to say what I think it's worth, but it might cost $25,000 to bring the water from one side of Oak Park Avenue to another. Easy. So that doesn't even count getting the sprinkler system into the building. So we spent many times, many meetings, many years going back and forth with Jim on how do we get this building to meet our standards and not put them in bankruptcy, okay? So the fire department did a best practice review, and we established some new standards. We diligently kept meeting with Jim. We tried to convince him that he can meet our goals, get a sprinkled building, and do it in a cost-effective way. So we created a system for light hazard buildings that don't have a ready water supply to put basically a tank system into the building. So these are for small buildings. It's not going to be a solution for the large developments. But it's a light hazard building. They've got a tank system that connects up to a new sprinkler system. It's got a connection on the outside. It's got a pump system. So this will supply his fire protection that he needs until the fire department gets there to deal with whatever the issue might be. So this provides a life safety issue, provides peace of mind, and it's done in a cost-effective way. So this is just one idea of how our building department and ultimately our fire department worked with a business owner to get compliance, but yet doing it in a sensitive, cost-effective manner. So I'm up here just to say that we're here to try to work with you, whether it's on a planning-related item, whether it's on a building-related item. There's always multiple ways to try to accomplish things. Our goal is not to issue tickets on something like this, not to say, hey, we gave you X time, here's a ticket. That doesn't solve the problem. So we're constantly working with property owners to come into compliance and to come up with creative solutions. This is just one example. Wasn't an easy example. I'm sure Jim didn't like writing the check, even if it was a little bit smaller, but it accomplished the goal. So just to let you know, we're here to talk. So whether it's planning, economic development, building, call us. There's always ways to work through things. So let us know. We're not here to be a detriment to business. We're here to work with you because we're here for the long term. We want you here for the long term as well. So I'd like to introduce Dave Seaman, see if he's got any words that he'd like to talk about.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate each of you. You've basically survived one of the more difficult times, probably any economy since the Depression. And for those of you that have gutted it out, have basically stayed the course, and I'm sure made sacrifices to stay in those businesses, it's just indicative of the commitment you've made to Downtown Tinley. And we're hoping that we can, in some way, shape, or form, return that commitment to you. And some of the things that we're doing, you've heard a little bit about some of the possibilities. We did a study not too long ago. For the last couple of months, we got the report from Roger Brooks. Basically, it's a marketing study that'll focus on wayfinding and other ways to help people that, say, go to the convention center for a convention or go to a hotel out there to find their way to Downtown Tinley. That's part of the problem. People can't, if you're really, unless you're familiar with the area, you don't know where Downtown Tinley is. So there are a lot of proposals there, a lot of things that break some of our conventional thinking, which have to do with signs, for one. And so those will all be things that we'll be taking into consideration and trying to get right. There are a couple of projects coming though, and it's been mentioned earlier, we need to get people seats down here. Your businesses can't succeed without more people being in this downtown area. It's absolutely essential for success. It's like auto dealers down 159th Street. The more the better, because it generates more traffic. You need more traffic. Now you gotta be here too. That's another piece of it. When we do the cruise nights and everybody's gone fishing or sleeping, that's a problem. You know, you can't jump your business when you're not there. So just just something that's been on the table and raised as part of the Brooks study, actually. But we need your support to do some of these people seat increases. We're going to be talking about some multifamily structures that will be large, probably 167 units, one. Probably another one where Central Junior is probably around 50. Well, in my experience over some 30 years in office, it's become more difficult. We don't have the luxury anymore of being able to do anything on that village board without having half of the group, and I don't mean our village board, but I mean having half the people oppose it and half the people are for it. That's a very difficult position to be in. When some of these projects come up, we're going to ask you, as the business entrepreneurs at Tinley Park, to convince the citizens that will come up with in some way, shape, or form with opposition to it to support the efforts that are being made. Because you've got to show that there are two sides to this story, and that is where we're going to need you. We're going to need you to basically support the future for those multifamily projects that are on the table, as well as a senior project that's on the table right down Oak Park Avenue as well. Those will all be helpful. And as we try to get more into this TOD development where people are walking, not driving, I think you'll see it even more intensified and give you more opportunities. So we come to you, I think, asking for your help. We ask you for your commitment. For those of you that are having successful business or having successful properties, how can those be improved and how can we help? Whether it's a facade program, whether it's basically working with your tenants to be able to provide some economic incentives. The state has some. I mean, we just put a few on the table here that primarily are village related, but there are lots of state economic incentives as well. So we're here, Ivan's here, Mary's here to help you do better, to help you be a success. We want to see the facade program grow. There's some areas around Elmore Plaza, there's real opportunities there. We want to see that happen. We want to see some of the other projects down Oak Park Avenue happen. We're working with Regis and some of the people that are part of her group to see if we can do something there, some way, shape, or form. Let me make one thing clear so that you all don't think that, because I'm sure you've all heard about the mental health center. One way, shape, or form is going to be development there. We don't want that to compete with downtown Tinley Park. I don't think it will. It's going to be a different product. It's going to be in a completely different neighborhood. But what it will do is once again give you people seats, because once we have some kind of a transport down the railroad tracks, you're going to have people within a mile or two from your downtown. What a great opportunity. And so that's the kind of development that we're looking for. That's the kind of success that we're looking for. And we ask you to continue your commitment to reinvest in your businesses and your properties, and we will do whatever we can in our power to help make that happen. Last but not least, because I know you're on a time and you've got business to go to, I want to introduce Jake Vandenberg, one of the newest members of our board. He's in the back here. And as chairman of planning, he's going to be critical in working with Amy and her team to help make this all better. So we're with you, we're behind you. Let us know how we can help you. Come up with ideas. Come up with crazy ideas. Ivan's here to help you. Not saying, Ivan, but anyway, we're here to try the different. We're here to try the unusual. We're here to try stuff that helps you be successful, because your success is our success. So thank you.